It took me around 3 weeks after my 21st until I found the one that I wanted. And when I did, the next day we went and got it. Hey guys, welcome back to the Automotive Stable. I'm here with another video today, and I'm going to be taking you back to when I was 21 and I bought my dream car. So please like and subscribe and watch to the end of this video to see everything that I did to my car. Without further ado, let's get on with the video. So it's the summer of 2016. I've just graduated from law school with my law degree. I've turned 21 and I want to move on to something bigger and not just hatchbacks, which I previously had. Growing up, I had two dream cars. The supercar being the Ferrari F430, the dream car, and then the other dream car of mine being the BMW 3 Series E46. Even now, if you think about it, the shape of the BMW E46 is a timeless shape. So yeah, that was my dream car that I wanted to get as soon as I passed my driving test. Not surprise, surprise, when you pass your driving test here in England, the cost of the car is not the only cost that you need to worry about, it's insurances that you need to take care of. I've done another video, I'll put a link here, go check it out if you want cheaper insurances as a young driver, go check that out. You know, when I turned 17, I had to rely on hatchbacks. I had a Golf and a few cars like that. I couldn't really go out and buy the dream car, the E46 that I wanted, because no one in reality was going to insure me on it. Even if someone did insure me, it would have had crazy access on it, and you'll be looking at insurances somewhere between, you know, I don't know, 15 to 20,000 pounds, not worth it, right? I'm turning 21 in July 2016, and this is a month prior to that. Now, I've worked really hard. I've saved up enough money to be able to pay for the BMW E46, to be able to cover the insurance, and just go and buy myself my dream car that I've waited for so long. And the reason I couldn't get it is because of my age and everything. Also, what didn't help, I had 3 points in my first 6 months of driving, so insurances was just getting impossible. So I knew I was turning 21 and the insurances will come down, because the insurances, like I explained in my video previously, they come down at 18, 21 and 25. So I was ready to make that jump and finally get myself into a bigger car. I've always looked at, you know, even when I was 14, 15, when I couldn't actually get a car because I was too young to drive, I always checked prices of E46s. I've looked at people who modified these cars. It was really an inspirational car for me. It was the car that I really wanted to get. Now, a month before my 21st, I'm on it again with full intensity, checking every website, just looking for the perfect E46 that I can purchase as soon as I turn 21, or even maybe a couple of days before that. I remember my dream spec in an E46 would have been dark grey on the outside and red interior on the inside. I saw a few photos of it when I was younger, and I've seen some of them in real life. The most perfect spec that you can have. I was mainly looking at the coupe or the convertible. The E46 is a very beautiful shape, you know, it looks perfect in both convertible and coupe. My mind was open to both of them. I remember checking forums online and, you know, finding out from people that the E46 reliability is not too great. You know, people who've owned E46s, they've had problems with their roofs, their mechanics, you know, a lot of problems with the car because, you know, it's becoming older and BMWs are not seen as reliable as some of the other German manufacturers, for example. Sitting down talking with that, and I've also spoken to a few other people, and I don't really think it's going to be a reasonable choice. It's not going to be justified for me to go out and buy an E46. But I still want to do it, you know, I still want to do it. I'm still down to tell my dad, you know, I'll find a nice example or look somewhere safe to buy the car from, and I'll look after it, I'll maintain it. I want to go out and get my E46, you know, be waiting for, you know, all my life, and I'll get that car now, I'm ready for it. And then my dad came up with a suggestion. He said, why don't you look at the newer version of the 3 Series, which at that time was the E90 series, and he said, check that out. Obviously the car's going to be newer, it's going to be more pricey. I think it was 4 or 5 times the price of the E46, but he said it will be more reliable, and therefore it's better if, you know, if you look at it in the long run and stuff. First I was like, nah, just, you know, it's my dad trying to deter me from my dream car, the E46, that's what I want to get, that's what I'm going to get. But that thing is obviously in the back of my head, I want to check out the new BMW, why not? It's a new 3 Series, it's an upgraded model, it's going to be more reliable, it's going to be more modern, the technology, the mechanics, everything's going to be newer, right? So I go online and check it out. Now I'm checking up specifically the E92. The E92 is a coupe version of the BMW 3 Series. One thing you guys must have noticed, I'm pretty sure it's not just me, is when you're interested in a car or you're going to be buying a car, you start seeing that car everywhere, right? So that's what happened with me. Before I was seeing E46s everywhere. After I looked at a few ads of the E92, I started seeing them everywhere. It's one of the most beautiful cars that BMW has made, the E92 coupe along with the BMW E46. Both of those I think have a timeless shape, and like I said, in the future I think they'll go on to hold their value very well. So at that time, one of my friend's older brothers, he had an E46 convertible. It was a beautiful spec, black on black, but It's so strange. During that time, he started to have a few problems with the car. Maybe it was a sign from God trying to tell me, stay away from that car, it's going to cost you more. Go with the E92. His roof, stopped working. He had some mechanical faults, there's some ECU problems. And, it was really just making me feel like what everyone's talking and saying about this car might be true. And I really love this car. But in this moment of time when I'm just want to go and purchase up my dream car, moving on to a bigger car, I don't want to be getting myself into something where I'm just going to have to constantly, go around workshops, put in money and not being able to enjoy the car, and just drive it, which is the main thing I want to do. So I turned 21. With everything I've heard and stuff, I just made a choice. I said, for now, E46 is not, the justified choice to make. We'll leave that later date if, sometime down the line I do feel like getting an E46 and I find a good example of it. Of course I'll go get it, right? But for now, I started looking at the E92s. Now, my focus is on the BMW E92 M Sport, right? So the coupe version, two-door version. Now because I knew I was going out, I'm going to be spending a lot of money on this car, I wanted to find the perfect one. I wanted to find with all the options that I wanted. I wanted to find the exact spec, the color, the interior that I wanted. Looking for that perfect example to turn up so I could go out and buy it. Color-wise, there were two specs that I was looking for. It was either going to be dark grey on the outside and red on the inside, or it was going to be black on black. So black on the outside with black leather on the inside. No justifications. Those are the colors that suited my head at that time. That's what I wanted. And these are the two colors, the two specifications that I was looking for in particular, right? Now, not only that, obviously when I was researching, I was finding out more stuff. Now, this BMW came with the N47 engine. That engine is not known for its reliability, right? A lot of people at that time who bought some of these cars, they had problems later on down the line. But for me, I was getting a low mileage car. I was looking at low mileage examples with one owner, maximum one owner, with all service history and everything. So I wasn't too worried about, that kind of problems. This engine came in different variations, right? There's obviously petrols and diesels. One factor specifically that differed was the kilowatts of power that these engines were putting out, right? There was an 85 kilowatt version, 105 kilowatt version, 120 and 131. But many people might not know about this, but there was also 150 kilowatt available to purchase. And that specific engine was a twin turbo putting out around 200 brake horsepower. So in terms of spec, that's what I want now, right? I want the 150 kilowatt engine putting out around 200 brake horsepower. So the color spec, I wanted grey or black on the outside. And I was also looking out for the professional pack. Now the professional pack is something that BMW do. I don't know if they still do it. I believe they still do it. Professional pack was an upgraded entertainment package. Navigation, the screen is much, much bigger. You have better speakers, more technical functions and more entertainment facilities, I believe. But for this car, because I wanted the perfect example, it took me around 3 weeks after my 21st until I found the one that I wanted. And when I did, the next day we went and got it. And I happened to come across this ad of a BMW E92 M Sport finished in black with black interior. It was the LCI, which basically means it was the facelift, and it had just been posted. And I started looking at the specs, and I kid you not, every single spec that I wanted was in that car. That guy had spec'd the out that car, it was fully loaded. Obviously it's not gonna have every specification out there, that you can buy on that car, but for me, the specs that I was looking for were in that car. The guy's based in Bath. He's one owner since new, all BMW service history. He's still got extended warranty, very low mileage. So I showed the car to dad, he liked it as also, gave the guy a call, and now we've got an appointment booked to go see the car first thing tomorrow morning. That night was a sleepless night for me. I had goosebumps, I had butterflies in my stomach. All I could imagine is me driving that car, like, oh, I'm actually gonna be in that car that I've, it's not the E46 that I initially wanted, but it's the upgraded version of that car, right? Just waiting for the next morning to come. And it couldn't come any slower, right? I couldn't sleep all night, just awake, waiting for that moment to come. Now, whilst I'm awake all night, I'm checking insurances on that car, and trust me, it was ridiculous. Insurances for that car for myself were coming around 4,000 and above. Kept checking, and the one insurance popped up finally. It was around £2,000. Now, I'll save that insurance quote. So next morning comes myself, my dad, my uncle, and my cousin, 4 of us, drive down to get the car. Now, the reason my uncle goes with us is because he's the one who's going to be driving my car back, because I can't get insured on it yet. And when we arrived there, I remember pulling up to this guy's driveway. I was sitting in the back seat, and on the left of my eye, I could see that BMW parked in front of his garage. And it's just like, I don't know how to explain to you. I hope that, the passion that I have about cars is coming through, because it's a feeling that you can't really explain to someone. A person who's as much as passionate as you are about cars may be able to feel it. But yeah, I saw that car parked there, and I got goosebumps and everything, and I'm like, just like, get on with it. I want to purchase the car and like get it home, Oh, we met the guy, amazing guy, really nice guy. He had kept the car in a perfect condition. He had serviced it regularly from BMW. He had all the documentations to prove everything. Michelin Pilot Super Sports all around. If you know about those tires, you know these are not normal tires. Remember, whilst the pavement, we were waiting for the pavement and stuff to go through, he took me out for a test drive. He took me onto a dual carriageway. And trust me guys, when I put my foot down on that car, even a little bit, you could tell the car was instant power. It was manual, that's what I wanted. And I couldn't help get the smile on my face. We came back, the payment went through, and now we've got the car, we've got the keys, and I'm in the car with my uncle now, who's driving my car back home. I'm asking him, I'm asking my uncle, like, how does it feel? Does it feel good? Like, for me, like, I want to be in that seat driving, but obviously not allowed legally because no insurance and stuff. And I'm asking you for all of the opinions, and he said, this car actually feels fantastic. And I remember him telling me at that time that this car feels amazing. It feels sick, basically. It feels banging. For me, it was just like the perfect day, going there, finding my dream car, picking it up, driving it back home. So this is where the first problem began, right? The insurance quote that I saved, I took that policy out. I think it was a week's time that I took out the policy. 1 hour after taking out the policy, they said, sorry, but we're not going to be able to provide you with this insurance policy. We're cancelling your cover as of now. And for me, that's just like, I'm like, this was that one insurance that I found. In my heart and my head, I knew there was some way that I'll figure out there's no way I'm getting rid of this car, If I have to pay insurance that big, then somehow I'll figure out a way to pay for it, or I'll find a cheaper one somehow. Now, in regards to the spec, it was the E92 M Sport Coupe. It came with the N47 150 kilowatt engine, which is what I was looking for, with the 200 brake horsepower. Upgraded professional business pack, which gave me a bigger satellite navigation, DVD, all of that stuff, better speakers. It also came with 2 subs, one underneath the driver's seat, one underneath the passenger seat. It had keyless go. It had a built-in hard drive for you to save in your videos, your music, your movies, whatever you wanted. Obviously black leather inside, black on the outside. It already came with standard privacy glass, but obviously I was going to get proper tints later on anyway. It had M badging all around. It actually came with the M rear badge. I took that off because I like a clean look. It also came with a black styling pack, which meant all of the stuff that normally on that car would have been chrome was blacked out by BMW at factory. It was a 6-speed manual, which is what I wanted. It had electrically operated seats. It had heated seats. It has some touch sensitive control buttons, you could just hover over them. The M Sport sidekicks, lighting underneath the door handles and mirrors, the auto dim feature. Basically, see the side mirrors and the rearview mirror, it changed to a slightly darker tint at night. So in case there was someone coming up, driving behind you with the lights coming into your eyes, those lights would not dazzle you when you're driving. So after about a week and a half, 10 days, I finally managed to get insurance on it, and I took the car out for the first time on the road myself. And the way I felt in that car, I don't know if I'll be able to put that across, but it was just surreal. I was driving in the newer version of my dream car. I felt like everybody was looking at me, which they weren't. It was just in my head. If you've been in a BMW, I don't know if all BMWs are like that. I've been in a few of my friends, but they tend to be different depending on the model that you have. But the E92 M Sport that I had, right, it was, if you lowered the seat, it went all the way down to the ground, and the steering was right in front of your face. Not like, obviously not visibility wise, but it was right there. The gear stick was in perfect position, and you just felt like you're in a fighter jet, The car also had some wide and thin tires, 255 35s 19s in the back, and at the front 225 30 19s. Just a little touch of the accelerator, the car pushes you back. It's twin turbo. I can hear the turbos, when I'm putting my foot down. The passion around these cars. When people talk about BMWs, it's a reason they talk about it. The driving experience that BMW gives you, there's not many cars out there that you can say will give you the same kind of experience. First thing I always do on a car is window tints. I called my local guys and I went down there and got the tints done on the car. Already the car's looking a lot stealthier for me. One thing that annoyed me a little bit was the front grille. Even if you go with a black styling pack, the front grille, the outer part of it is going to be chrome or grey. It just didn't fit with the whole car, and it was definitely not going to fit with what I had in mind for that car in the future. Took them off and took off the inner blades, and then I wrapped the outer part in gloss black myself. Next thing I wanted to do is I wanted to take off the tires and change the brake caliper colors. The brake calipers came in a dark silver grey kind of color. I had the twin 5-spoke alloys, and they looked really nice going down the road. So when the wheels are spinning, I want my brake calipers to pop and stand out. I never get red brake calipers because I just think it's too standard and they look a bit tacky on some cars. The colors I had in mind were either yellow or blue. I just decided to go with blue because it's a whole BMW theme color. Now, because obviously I bought the car towards the end of summer, I had a little time to enjoy that car in the summer before winter arrived. Now, when winter arrived, it was my first coupe with rear-wheel drive. I knew I wanted some fun in the snow. It just happened to be that year it did snow. Now, I remember I was out with my friends and most of them had BMWs at that time. There was a 1 Series, there was another 3 Series E92, there was an E46. And we were just doing donuts in car parks, and I went through the whole set of Michelins, especially the rear ones, just gone. One night I finished a pair of Michelins, That car I owned for around 3 years, right? And in those 3 years, I had the tires changed about 5 to 6 times, not including the tires that it came with. Once you get used to the car and you're driving around corners, you turn off the traction control, you're starting to take out the tail a little bit, and I started doing that a lot. I'll be stuck in traffic, and I'll put my foot down, burn a bit of rubber, there's people looking at me, and just like the smoke coming out like that. I'm going around corners, little roads, and wherever it was safe to do so, obviously. So I went through a lot of rubber. I called up Costco, my local Costco, and asked them that I want these Michelin Pilot Super Sports, would you be able to get those tires in for me, and I'll bring the car and get that done from you guys. 2 rear tires for that BMW. I got the front as well because it was all run flats. I had to change all of them, but as for the rear 2 tires, I had to pay 485 or 495 pounds just for 2 Michelin Pilot Super Sports. The reason being the size of the tire and the width of it, and they were quite thin. Obviously, being the top of the range Michelin Pilot Super Sports, believe me, in about 2.5 months the tires were gone again. That's the thing, I've got my Mercedes now. It's a rear wheel drive as well, but I don't do that kind of stuff that often on it. I've done it a few times. The way I was going through rubber on my BMW was crazy. I actually wasted a lot of money on tires for that BMW. I went abroad to Germany, my first ever drive. I wasn't nervous at all. I was so excited. I'm going to get to drive on the German motorways, unlimited speed limit. I actually visited Germany on this car on a couple of occasions. One, obviously, because I've got family down in Germany, and also to see some of my friends. We drove through France into Belgium and then to Germany. So I remember we were on the German motorway. I see my rearview mirror, BMW 5 Series just comes up right up me. And as soon as we go past, I see it's a 530. I pull up right behind him. I'm chucking a lower gear and I'm after him now. And he's speeding through cars. I'm speeding after him. It's German motorways, no speed limits, right? So we're just going down. I'm hitting speeds. He's hitting speeds as well. And at the end, he gets scared or something. He's doing 140 something. And I just go past him. And I ended up doing 156 miles an hour on that car. Trust me, when you're driving that car fast, you can feel the car sticking to the ground. When you're going around the corners, you can feel the car's hugging you, but at the same time, it's telling you can push me, and I'm not gonna, kill you or anything. Wide tires, the stiff suspension, the heavy steering. I think I kept on doing that for a couple of minutes. You can actually see your fuel gauge, the needle, slightly moving towards, empty. Because in Germany, when I was driving little city roads and obviously, town roads, everyone's looking at the car, especially with the British number plate, a yellow big number plate saying yes boy. One thing I hated about the car, the dash lights in BMWs always used to be orange. They changed it around recently, but they were that amber orange kind of finish. It just spoiled the whole look of the car. During my ownership of that car, I did a lot of modifications to it. Let me list some to you now. The dash lights, I actually got the whole dash changed. I got the dash lights done in a nice white and blue finish. Nothing like what it used to look like before, so I got that changed. Window tints, I changed the brake calipers to blue. I wrapped the interior trim. It was a grey aluminium kind of finish. I wrapped that all in carbon fiber. I had a front splitter installed onto the bumper. Added a rear boot spoiler. Wrapped the grills in gloss black. I wrapped the rear diffuser in carbon fiber. I also coated the car. When every time I closed the car, the mirrors would fold itself. Every time I opened it, the mirrors would open themselves. The lights would fade in. The number plate lights would fade in. Upgraded interior lights, ambient white. Also put neon lights all around underneath the car. I think I was watching a bit too much Fast and Furious, but it stood out. Tinted the rear lights myself, and the front lights I had professionally done. I didn't keep them for too long, the front lights, because they had a brownish tint to it. I didn't like it too much, but yes, I had that done. So by that time, the car was fully blacked out. It was in stealth mode, lowered, looked mean and aggressive on the road. But the one thing that was standing out were the tires for me. Everything else on the car was black except this tires, still factory silver. So basically, myself and one of my friends, we decided to do the tires ourselves. We prepped them properly, sanding them down, changed the color and made them into gloss black. Trust me, once I put those tires onto that car, the gloss black tires, very, very mean. It was low, wide to the ground, stealthy. Friends used to tell me when they used to sometimes see me drive past on the road and stuff, they said this car actually has a lot of presence, Even if you're someone who's not into a car, you see this car parked somewhere, you see this car going somewhere, you'll end up looking at it, look nice, it looked a bit unique and stuff. I love this car so much. I was studying LPC in London. After I had completed my degree, I started on a legal practice course, and it's in City of London. You have to pay congestion charge, you have to pay for the parking, and parking over there is crazy. But I used to be in about 3 days a week, and all of the 3 days I used to drive my car down. I think I used to pay about 20 something pounds for the parking every day. I just loved that car so much that I wanted to spend as much time as I could with it. And after finishing from uni and stuff, sitting back in your car, on your own, listening to music, driving back home, it's just it's one of the best feelings that you can have, only if you have the right car. And I believe at that time I had the perfect car, so the whole experience with that car was amazing. this was my dream car and I wanted to just make the most of it and enjoy my time with it. I can honestly say up until now, this is the car that I've made the most memories with. Driving abroad for the first time, I drove to Germany, through France, Belgium, all of that stuff. That was the first time I drove myself. So many memories with my friends in this car. We've been to so many places, driven around a lot, done a lot of stupid stuff. It was also the car that I owned at the time that I met my wife. So for me, that car had a lot of sentimental value, but at the same time, when I was selling it, I was ready to move on to something else. It was a good, happy send-off. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed listening to me talk about my dream car and how I got it. If you did, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, help me get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of this year. I'll be back next week with another video. Until then, logging out. Bye-bye.